think that moment, you know, that kind of like that aha moment or that moment of clarity came for me. It was a few things. You know, I always had like the support of my community, my homies, my cousin Ski. My cousin Ski was always like putting the battery in my back, telling me how ill I was, always encouraging me to rap and freestyle and, you know, go to the studio and do records. And he was one of the people that I would play records for early on and kind of see his reaction, you know, and if he reacted, you know, great to it, then I knew I had something. And if he was like, so, then I knew I had to work on it more. But professionally, you know, I think is when I got the attention of DJ Premier. You know, before we did the records together, the conversation was had like, yo, Preem is interested. Preem wants to work with you. Preem is going to reach out. And just knowing that I had Preem's attention was like enough for me, right? Like, oh shit, DJ Premier heard some of my stuff. And then obviously we got a chance to do a record and turn to another record and another, and, you know, we got 6 joints in. So, you know, but just those first records, you know, I remember when Get It Done came out and it was literally like an overnight thing. Like Tuesday, nobody cared. Wednesday, everybody was in my MySpace. You know, it was one of those moments that you hear about that people say. And that was the moment for me. I was like, oh, wow, it's real. It's really happening. Hip hop is the land of make believe, right? The Wizard of Oz. So I think that as a fan initially, before I got into business, I thought that everything I was seeing and hearing was real. That was everybody drives the cars that they talk about. Everybody lives the life that they talk about. Everybody raps the raps that they wrote. And then I kind of got a peek behind the curtain to kind of see the mechanics of how it really worked. And it changed my perspective. You know, I mean, obviously, I work with tons of artists. I write tons of records. And so for me, I'm all for it. You know, I think anything that I ever spit, it comes out of my mouth is all me. But, you know, it's so funny that when I have conversations with a lot of the OGs, they really be letting the cat out the bag. Like, such and such didn't write this. I wrote that. You know, so you kind of find out that even your heroes aren't bulletproof. You know, they're not superheroes either. They have tents and chinks in their armor. And it's a part of music making. You know, I think hip hop comes from such a real place that people just want everything that you say to be your real life, or want to know that everything you said as an artist is something that you wrote. But there are times where, you know, you might live the life and not be able to tell the story the exact way, or you might be a great storyteller. You might be a great, you know, just a person that understands how to make records and come up with melodies and cadence and things of that nature. And people need help. And that's totally fine, because it is an art form. It is a form of expression. It's certain people that don't write rhymes but deliver the hell out of them, even better than the person that wrote it. So it's really about finding your space in it and finding your talent in it and finding your niche in it and mastering it, you know? And so for me, yeah, I'm a purist at heart, but I'm not one of those guys who, oh, this guy doesn't write everything, he's trash. Like, I think that's fun. I think that knowing your subject, no matter what you're doing, you know, the more well-versed you are in the subject, whether it be a person or an actual subject, I think that just makes the conversation flow a lot easier. You know, so if you're writing from somebody else's perspective, then you should know a little bit about the person, their life, you know, their lifestyles, things that they into, things that they're not into. I think a lot of times people shoot their shot and they just write generic stuff like, oh, everybody can relate to this, and not knowing a thing or two about the person, like they might be totally against that. You know, it might be a word, it might be a slur, it might be, you might talk about guns and they don't like guns. So it's really just kind of like knowing the subject and knowing the people that you're working with. Another thing I think is, you know, just having your mind open to expand, right? Just like kind of being open-minded to trying different things. You know, one thing I like about songwriting, especially when I'm working on other artists, is that I get a chance to kind of be different. You know, Torae, that brand and what people know coming from me is Torae the artist might be totally different from something that I'm putting on somebody else, right? And so, you know, that kind of puts me in that same space like when I'm acting. You know, I get a chance to drop in and be a different character, and that makes it fun and that makes it exciting. So I think just, you know, being open-minded, you know, to try different things, different flows, different sounds, different cadences, and knowing enough about the person or the people that you're working with so that when you come to the table, you know, and if it's a full collaborative effort, when you come to the table, they can say, wow, this is a great start. We 70% there, you know, and y'all can figure out the other 30 together.